So again, we're going to review our test today. Tomorrow, if you need to make up any work, I'm in A224, Stinger 6. So during Stinger 6, if you are allowed to, if you need to make up work, it's towards the end of the period. Some of you, if there's time, I doubt we're going to have time today, but if you have any missing work, like quizzes, tests, tomorrow's an opportunity. Thursday's also an opportunity. As you know, your test is next time. Calculators, pencils, do we have those? Everybody has a pencil. Richard, you have a pencil? Okay, we're going to get started. All right, so here's what's going to happen. The first problem that we do, midpoint. We just talked about midpoint last time. What I would do is label x1, y1. Or you can do x2, y2, it doesn't matter what's first. And then for midpoint, here's your formula. X1 plus x2. This is where some of you got confused with this step. And then y1 plus y2 over 2. So for the x's, what two numbers are we going to add for the x's? What two numbers are our x values? So it's going to be 5 plus 13. Remember, you add first. Well, what's 5 plus 13? And then we divide by 2. 18 to 2 is 9. Good. And then you're going to do the same thing for the y's. -1 plus 3. Divide by 2. What is -1 plus 3?
1.
Okay, I know where you got the 1. The final answer is going to be 1. -1 plus 3 is, and then what's 2 divided by 2? Yep, so which choice? First, second, third, or fourth? Nine, 1. Okay. Any questions on the first one? All right. So again, midpoint, you use this formula. I would definitely write that down on your extra piece of paper. That's going to be the rule. You might want to write down, I'll highlight it.
I have a question. So are you multiplying x1 and x2 by 2 and then...
We're going to divide by, you're going to add, then divide. Add your numbers, then divide. Add your x's, divide by 2. Add your y's, divide by 2. But it's very important to label. If you label them wrong, you will get a wrong answer. That's why I tell everybody, label right away. Other questions on number 1? All right, number 2, complementary angles. What do we know about the complementary angles? Complementary angles. Two angles add up to 90. 90. So they add up to 90 degrees. So we need to figure out which two angles add up to 90. Basically, just add your numbers. And believe it or not, a lot more people get this wrong than I think. So just add them up. And then who could tell us which one of the four? First, second, third, or fourth? 42 and 48. That's right, Brooklyn. 42 plus 48 is 90. So it's this one. The other three will not work.
You said which two angles? Oh, no, I read that wrong. I thought it said like two of those answers.
Oh, okay, no, that's all right. That's good you asked. Because, hey, maybe you might have one of those select all. I don't think you do for this test, but that's a good alert point. Yeah, this one is just by itself. All right, questions on number 2. If we're ready, we'll go to the next page. All right. Number 3. If they're supplementary.
That's 180.
Okay. So, go ahead.
It's the first one.
Very good, Brooklyn. She's right. It's going to be that one because you got to check, add them up. So I'll write it. Angles, two angles. Which add up to 180 degrees. Supplementary angles, two angles which add up to 180 degrees. Good. So, questions on number 3. Cindy, did you get number 3? Okay, again, add them up. Whoever adds up to 180 is correct, and in this case, it's the first one. All right. Everybody else, we're good? And again, you may want to write down some of this on your paper. If you don't get it right away, these will be posted. These notes will be posted later this afternoon, early this evening in Schoology. And you definitely have it by tomorrow. All right. The vertical angles. Oh, one of them. Okay. Oh, I know what I should have done. I did that problem wrong. Vertical angles directly across. What's their relationship? They're equal. So I want to see something. Okay. They're equal. What I should have done, I think on the test it's going to actually be the case. Or do the setup. I just wanted a setup.
No, 5x minus 6 equals 3x plus 12.
Yep. That's what you're going to do for your next problem. On your test, they're actually going to, I'm going to ask you one of the following. So since they're vertical angles equal each other. They equal each other. So you set them up, set the first expression equal to the second. That's the most important part for this. So they're vertical. Vertical means set them equal. Because they're right across. Vertical angles are directly across from each other. I'm going to add that little directly across. So you see that they're directly across from each other.
Diagonal, up and down.
I want to make sure I understand. Okay, they could be diagonal, but like not one right above the other. Or not one to the left or the right. But yeah, they could be diagonal, like this, depending on, or if it looks like this. Then it would be this guy, that guy. They're going to be. As long as you don't cross one line right over to the other. You have to cross through the intersection. Cross the intersection from each other. Or we're going to be dealing with this rule in and out all year, I promise. This is not going to go away after this unit. Richard, you good over there? Now, what you're going to do, you're going to take this setup for the next problem. Because 6A, we wanted to figure out what was the relationship they're related to each other. First side equal the other side. So this is your setup. Now you're going to take your setup for the next problem. So copy this. Well, copy this part especially, what I'm going to highlight. That's going to be the first line for the next problem that we do. So when we go to the next problem, because that's what's going to happen. I'm going to ask you for the setup. Then you're going to solve if you get that setup right. So take that setup, we're going to solve. You said they were equal to each other. If you haven't done so, start solving that problem because 2 days, that's exactly what you're going to be doing here. We got 5x minus 6 equals 3x plus 12. Okay. How do we solve for x? What's our step? Yep, you want to take, your x's are on opposite sides. So you want to bring the smaller, you want to move the smaller x. Think about it like boxes. You'd rather move 3 boxes than 5, right? So opposite side. So 3x, opposite is negative 3x. So I have 5x minus 3x. How many x's are left? In this case, it will be 2x. So 2x minus 6 equals 12. So 2x minus 6 equals 12. Now, well, 6 on both sides. Do we agree? All right, I hope we understand, because some of us on our quiz, even after we went over the steps, we're struggling. So then what's left? 2x equals 18. Good. So if 2x equals 18, what's our last step then? Exactly. So then, what will x equal? We agree 18 divided by 2 is 9? Nelson? 18 divided by 2 is 9? You agree, Cindy? Richard? Milady? Okay. Again, a lot of these problems are going to be given a diagram, what's your setup? Similar to your quiz, diagram, setup. Okay, real quick with number 6C. So take your x equals 9, you're going to use it for the next problem. A lot of these, your previous answer, you use for the next problem. Take your x equals 9. Now, does it matter which angle I use to get the actual angle measure? Exactly. Thank you. Good job. So I think somebody said it. Yup. Because we have 5. 5 times 9 minus 6. Oops. That equals 39. You can also do 3 times 9 plus 12. You should also get 39. It should have just been the number. Don't worry about the x's. But if you just said 39, you would have been good. So on your test, you should not have x equals for this problem. So 39 is the correct answer. So far, any questions? You good there, my lady? Nelson? Okay, that's fine, but we're good with this problem. Cindy, you good? Richard? All right. Let's talk about the next problem. complementary. Angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary. We just talked about this. Add up to 90. So I'll just label it angle 1, angle 2. They're complementary. Angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 90. But now, I think on the test I might have broke it down a little more. I'll look. But that's complementary. Your angles add up to 90. Now, what expression is angle 1? Well, which one? What are we going to replace angle 1 with? X plus 4. Plus, what's angle 2? What's the expression for angle 2? Now, could we have flipped it? Could we have said angle 2 here, angle 1 there? Yeah, you could have. Yep. As long as you know the sum of those two angles, if they're complementary, are 90. So that's the most important part of this problem. Complementary, angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 90. Now, look at our x plus 4 plus 3x plus 2. Can we leave it like this, or do we have to update this, change it up a little? Well, let's look at this x. Can I combine the x with anything? X and 3x. Yup. So you don't see it, but there's a 1 right in front of it. And then we said 1x plus 3x was how many x's? 4x. And then we have 4x. What else? 4 plus 2 is 6. Very good. Non-x terms. Got to add those up. That equals. Okay, so we'll do that in a second. I just want to make sure we're here first. Angle 1. Place it with x plus 4. Angle 2. Place with 3x plus 2. And then we combine our like terms. Now, 4x plus 6 equals 90. What's our next step to get the x by itself? Minus 6. You see what Brooklyn's doing there? So then we have 4x. What's 4x going to equal? 84. And then what's our basically last step for this problem?
Divide. Now give me 21.
Yep. X. 21. Good job. Anybody have any questions? This is going to be the toughest part of the problem. Because after that, it gets easy. Because all you have to do for the next two problems is just substitute. So that's all you do. 21 for x, 21 for X. That's what you're going to do for 7B and 7C. We can talk about those real quick. Okay. All right, 7B. So you have X is 21, plug it in. So angle 1 is X plus 4. Here's 1, here's 2. Yep. Angle 1 equals X plus 4. 1 equals 21 plus 4, which should be angle 1 equals 25 degrees. Good job. That's all you do for the first one.
The second one, yeah, that one is 65.
Okay. Now, for the second one, how did you get 65? There's more than one way you could have done it.
3 times 21 plus 2.
Okay, that's the quickest way. Yup. So again, should say X is 21. So then you just substitute. Again, same thing. Substitute. And you're going to do the same thing here. X equals 21. And then you have angle 2 equals 3x plus 2. Angle 2 is 3 times 21 plus 2. And angle 2 is 63 plus 2, which is 65 degrees. Now, here's another way you could have done this. Real quick, if you want to know the very quick way, you could have also have said 90 minus 25. That would have also worked. Okay. Those are the two ways. So this is where you could have most done it. You could have also said 90 minus 25. Because the sum of these two angles has to add up to 90. So if this is 25, this other one has to be 65. So you could have done it that way too. I would have given you full credit. Okay, questions on 7, A, B, or C? Now the next problem is going to be a little more tricky. We haven't done these in a while with the segments. So let me know when are we ready for the next problem? Cindy, Richard, you're writing this down, right? Okay. Here we go. All right. This entire distance from A to C. This is what we mean by A to C. This entire distance is 48. From A all the way to C. Total amount is 48. But we need to determine the value of x. What will our setup be? This is the most important part of the whole problem. Remember, A to C they gave us was 48, so the entire distance is 48.
2x minus 4 plus 3x plus 2 equals 48.
Very good. Your setup. So think about it like this. Setup. AB plus BC equals AC, which AB we said was 2x minus 4 plus BC, which is 3x plus 2 equals 48. That's a very good setup there, Amy. Well done.
Are we forgetting the 3x plus 2?
What's that,
Are
Brooklyn?
we forgetting the 3? Oh, no, we didn't.
That's okay. Good question. That's okay. That's a good question. We'll just, no, that's, what you're doing is a good idea, though. Double checking our work. It's always good to double check our work. It's always good to ask questions, even if it, we don't need the parentheses. But yep, AB is 2x minus 4. BC, 3x plus 2. AC, 48. Now, combine those guys. 2x, 3x. How many x's? And then what about the negative 4 and the positive 2?
Negative 2.
Yes, you do get negative 2. Very good. And then AC is still what number? Yep. Okay. There's the most important part. I went from here to here. Some of us are still doing opposites. Same side. Side. Combine. Like. Terms. Yep, that's our next step. So now you add 2 to both sides. Very good. And then what's our,
And x equals 10.
well done. 5x, 50. Divided by 5. And then x is 10. Questions? Okay, next 2 problems are going to be similar to the angle problem that we did.
16.
Yep, because
Because 2 times 10 minus 4.
exactly. So plug in that x equals 10. Plug it in. Remember, you have to be active with this, which some of us have been active, and that's good. AB equals 2x minus 4. And some of you don't have to write this. Some of you should, because we're still struggling on setups here. And then 20 minus 4, which is 16. Okay. All right, so AB is 16. Now, given AB is 16, who thinks they know what BC might be? How'd you get 32?
It's 3.
Oh, so
One.
yeah, I was gonna guess what would BC be. We're gonna take a guess. So AB for number 9B is correct.
I already did 13.
All right. So yeah, you do the same thing.
It's 32.
We do minus 48 and 16.
That's the other way you could have done it. Very good. There's 2 ways you could have gotten this. Quickest way, x is 10. BC equals 3x plus 2. BC equals 3 times 10 plus 2. BC equals 30 plus 2. BC equals 32. The other way you could have gotten it, or 48 minus 16. If you're not sure, you could always work backwards to get this. Because remember, 48, I'm going to use the pen, was AC minus AB. And that'll equal questions. Anybody have any questions on this problem? Give you a moment to think about that one, and then we'll give it. Now, I think the next problem might be the hardest problem out of the whole bunch. I'm going to straight up say it right now. The next problem, I think, will be the hardest. That's why I need. How about this? I will give you, look at where we are right now. All right. I'm going to give us about a 2-minute break. Okay. All right. Here we go. Back to the bunch. All right. Yes. All right. GFH. This is where a highlighter. Anybody need a highlighter for today? Yes, no? All right. GFH, I need you to figure out, is it a big or a small angle?
It's a big.
Big angle. So basically, this is one of those, the big angle equals,
180.
well, we don't know, not necessarily. They tell us it equals what number? So here's what you do. So the big angle we found out, which is GFH. So now we're going to use, so this problem, here's how we're going to use this. So you might want to, this is our setup.
That would mean I'm doing 3x plus 6
It's going to equal, you're on the right track. Your big angle. So let's use the letters. What's our overall big angle? What's the name of the big angle? What letters? Okay. I guarantee if we're not listening, you're getting this wrong. And I guarantee you, if we're not listening, you get it wrong. I'll be honest, some of you are not gonna some of you have not been doing your homework on a consistent basis. I know who you are. So angle GFH, that's the big angle. What are the two smaller angles? What are their names?
GFD and DFH.
Angle GFD plus angle DFH. Very good. That's right, Brooklyn. What's the measurement of GFH? That's given to us. So it's 144 equals, and somebody else said it. 3x plus, what else? That's going to be your setup. You have to understand who's the big angle here.
GFH.
Yep. And then that GFH is the total between your two smaller angles. That's where we're going with this problem. Okay. So we're going to keep the 144. What's going on with the 3x plus 2x minus 6? We're going to do some adding.
Minus the 2.
Oh, are they opposite or same side?
Yeah, add terms.
Just combine the like terms. So in this case, we're just going to add up. What's 2 plus 3? So we're going to have 5x. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be, all right. So we're going to do that in 1 second. We'll make sure everybody's good here. We're good at basically your test is going to be the same. Just look at who's your big number. So really the goal is going to be, do we add our angles or do we set them equal? So there was one case where we set them equal. That was the vertical. These problems, you add them up, set them equal to the overall. So now, so Brooklyn, yep, you were right going back to what you said about adding 6. We're going to do that. So we have 144 plus 6 is 150, which is a 5x. And how do we get x by itself?
Equals 30.
Yup. How did you do it?
150 divided by 5.
Exactly, 150 divided by 5. Okay, and again, you're not going to get this on your test. You're not going to get the help on the test, but the goal is your setup. Know your setups. If you understand and know your setups, you will pass. Because once you know how to set up, right, you're passing agenda, but yes, you may. And then 150 divided by 5, what do we get? 30 is x. Remember, 5 divided by 5 is still 1. Now, for your test, you may want to have highlighters with you. If you don't, we'll have one. Questions? Anybody have any questions on that problem? Make sure we're okay. Okay. So we're good with this one. Now you're going to take your x equals 30. You're going to use that for the next two problems, but the next two problems are going to be very easy. So take your x equals 30. This is where highlighters are going to be important. I want GFD. Here's GFD. We also said, what was the value of x from the previous problem? X equals 30. Now it's just a quick plug it in. You multiply 3 times 30. So what would be 3 times 30? Well, GFD is going to be 90. And then, you're going to do the same thing for the following problem, but are you going to plug it in 3x or are you going to plug it in the 2x minus 6? So you're going to use that x equals 30 again. I want you to try that next problem. X equals 30. So then 2 times 30, what's 2 times 30? Okay, you got the final answer. You're going to get your final answer because 2 times 30 is the 60 minus 6. And that will equal 54. Again, DFH is this angle right here, so you need to understand which angle we're using. Any questions? Okay, questions on this problem? Just making sure we're writing all this down. The next one we're going to talk about is actually much more tricky than we think. Because then we're going to be dealing with the angle bisectors. You got that one? So the angle bisector, again, names are going to be important. All right. So they said the ray OC, here's your ray right here, bisects this big angle. There's your little bisector that's right here. Now, they says COB, C to O to B was, they said was 19 degrees. But if CLB is 19 degrees, remember this bisects. So what do we mean by bisect? Well, if it means bisecting something means we split it into two. So we split this big angle exactly into two smaller pieces. So this piece is 19 up here as well. So angle COA must be how many degrees? 19. Let's split it right in half. COA. That's why highlighters might be important. COA is this guy right here. Boom. Oops. So the best thing to do, right away, you see the bisector? Put 19 here, put 19 there. So angle COA is 19 degrees. But again, that's what location is going to be the key. Now, what I'm going to ask next, you need to be real careful. We're going to take into consideration I have 19 both above and below my bisector. Because that's going to help me answer my next question. So think about this part. Put a 19 here. That was from the previous problem. 19 here. Believe it or not, a lot more people mess this up than you think. Now, angle BOA. Why was it 38, not 19? You need add them up. Add the angle measures. So it's 19 plus 19 equals 38 degrees. That's all you do. Believe it or not, a lot more people mess this up. Add the two smaller parts together, and that's how you get that value. Questions? Leave it up for about another 10 seconds, for about another 15 seconds. So believe it or not, you will see a problem like this on your test. It's on the quiz. Some of you got it, some of you didn't. But you better get it on the test. Tests are worth a whole lot more. And if you need to finish that quiz, you better see me about that. Yeah. It's going to be similar to the quiz. You're going to put all your notes on that lined paper. That lined paper I gave you. See that lined piece of paper that I've... You can use this piece of paper or your own piece of paper, but you're only allowed one. And you can put whatever even though we don't talk about everything, if you want to put other things on that piece of paper, you can. But that's the only thing you're allowed. So you've been told. All right, questions? All right, let's look at this next problem. Midpoint. I have a midpoint right there. If M is my midpoint, what do we know about the two smaller pieces? They're equal to each other. They're going to equal. So here's your setup. Your setup will be the 2x plus 7 equals 5x minus 11. That's your setup. Okay, now we're going to suffer our x. So what's our first step? Because midpoint, you can do that. Minus 2x is good. So what's left on the left side of the equal sign? It's going to be 7 equals, what's 5 minus 2, 5x minus 2x? 3x minus 11. Now what's our next step? We move the variable. So what are we not going, so what do we move now?
11.
Yeah. How do we do it? Uh-oh. All right.
I had gym third period, and then we shifted back to fifth period.
Okay, this time towards the end, I'll let you head down there, okay? Negative 11, positive 11. What happens? Do we keep them or do they go away? What's 7 plus 11? It's 18. Equals,
Oh,
X equals 6.
18 is 3x. And then divide by 3.
how can we get 18?
What's 11 plus 7?
Oh.
So we have 6 is x, or x is 6. We have 6 is x. So if it's midpoint, that should be the clue. Set them equal to each other. Segments are congruent. Two smaller segments are congruent. So that's the key. You see that midpoint, you set the smaller segments equal to each other. A lot of times it's all about what the setup is. So the next two basically, well, you have to get one part, but then you have to get the overall distance. So before we go to the next problem, are we good with the 6 equals x, the x equals 6 deal? Are we okay with that? So now what you're going to do for the next two problems, well, the next problem, you're just going to get one side, because we know that the sides are going to be the same. We agree. So you get one of the sides first, and then you need the whole thing. So that's how we're going to solve the next two problems. We'll zoom out a little. So basically, we said x was 6, right? And some of them, it was that one was a gimme, actually. Plug it in, either one. Plug it in. So you could do either for xm equals 2 times 6 plus 7, or my equals 5 times 6 minus 11. Both cases, what number should we get? What number should we get for both my or xm? 19. So in both cases, you got to get 19. And that's going to help you for the next problem. That's right. The whole entire distance will be 19 plus 19, which is 38. Good. So 19 for 12B, 38 for 12C. So you do. You got your first part. You know the second. Add them up. Bingo. Done. Questions on these two problems? If you're not sure, say something. You need to tell me. Okay. Here we go. We're good with these two problems here. Richard, you got it? Milady? Amy, Cindy, Nelson, we're good. Brooklyn, we're good. All right. Now, here's when you have to be careful. Here's your setup. This is where your two smaller segments add up to the big one. So you have RS plus ST equals RT. That's right. Yep. Because RS is 21 plus. Yep, you have to, because on the next problem, You're going to need that idea. So 46 is going to be the overall length. That's RT. But you have to be careful because the next problem, like, because you were given this one. Oops. You're given 21, 25. Just add them up, you're done. However, on the next one, were you given the little pieces, or do you need to find a little piece? You need to find the little piece. So on the next one, when in doubt, always write it out. Write out the two smaller pieces equal a big piece. That's what I would always do. All right, we're almost done. But here's where you do need to write it out.
Oh, Mr. Collins, I know that X month we have the meeting. I was wondering what date it is exactly.
Talk to me at the end of, like, right before the end of the period. It's going to be in the beginning, though. All right. So in this case, RS, do we know what RS is? No.
ST is 29 and RT is 15.
Okay. Yes, that's what you have to do here. Believe it or not, people mess this up, so be careful. People say it's easy. They'll mess it up. They'll add the two. I've seen it. Yeah, you might laugh, but believe it or not, people mess this problem up. They will add when you were supposed to subtract. So, Nelson, say it again. You do what with the 51 and the 29? Yeah, you minus, but believe it or not, I've seen this problem go a lot worse than it needs to go.
Equals 22. So RS equals 22.
Yep.
That was easy.
Yeah, but yeah, it's easier than, believe me, a lot of people make this a lot harder than it is. So I'm just saying, beware.
I was so close. I tried 21.
It's all right, but you knew you had to subtract.
I got
A lot of people add it up.
You always
Depends on the problem. Because the previous problem, it depends on what's given to you. I gave you both little parts. You add, since they're on the same side. But on this one, you must subtract since they're opposites. See your equal sign? I'll fix that. But yeah, you have to subtract to get the remaining piece. But that's a good question, Cindy. Thank you. All right, we're almost there. Last one. So the last thing we have not yet talked about. Supplementary angles. So
It equals adds up to 180.
yes. Supplementary means they add up to 180. Supplementary angles add up to 180.
So it would be 4x plus 7 plus 2x plus 17 equals 180.
Perfect. Great job. Hey, she's right. That's a perfect explanation, perfect setup. Thank you, Brooklyn. Good job. All right, you're right. So let's write, I'm gonna write that down real quick. So we have 4x plus 7 plus 2x plus 17 equals 180. So this is gonna be a setup, ladies and gentlemen. Let's solve for the x real quick and then I'll let you go.
Can you combine my terms?
Yep,
That'd be 6x.
so combine 4x, 2x, 6x. Hey, you're right, it's 24, but we don't need that extra word. Be careful what we say. Be nice. Yo lo entiendo, okay?
I didn't think it.
7 plus 17.
Oh, I thought it was 17 and 17.
So that's a cuidadito con la boca for whoever's saying what they're saying. And also remember, for anybody who's absent, they're listening to this. So we need to be careful. It's in Schoology.
You minus the 24 is 28. I mean, 180. They'll give you 20. And then
Okay, let's make sure we got this right. 180 minus 24.
equals 156.
So we have 6x.
Equals 156. And then you divide 156 by 6. And that'll give you 26.
Yep. That's it.
You would have to like substitute x, right? It just says to find that.
Okay, for this one, you just solve for the x. So for 14.
Okay, the next question.
Yeah, the next two, the last two are going to say x is 26. Plug it in. You're going to take your x equals 26. Plug it in. Then it's just 4 times 26 plus 7. Well, what's 4 times 26? I'll sign that real quick. 104 plus 7. How much?
111.
All right.
Since we have 111, we're going to have 180 and subtract
Yep. So for the very last one.
69.
Yep. Angle 1 is going to be 111. And then angle 2, I'll put it up in a second. Now you can do, so it's on the last page, angle 2. Basically, you're doing the same thing. You're going to plug that in over here too. And then Amy also said, well, I'll get there in a moment. This side is 111. This side has to be 180 minus 111. Now, if you did that and you said, hey, Mr. Connors, see my work from here, I will accept it because you're doing the work. So on the last problem, oops, I forgot my extra 1. So 180 minus 111, because you get 111 over here. Here's the work. And then for angle 2, you can do that. I mean, you could do 2 times, what was it, 26 plus 17? X was 26. 2 times 26 plus 17, 52. Plus 17. So then angle 2 is how many degrees one more time? All right. All right. Anybody have any questions for me? Yes. But do bring it next time because I'll give you credit for completing it. Because grades, I'm going to really start updating grades. Now, some of you, let's start.